Welcome back, my friends, to another journey into the strange, the chilling, and the unknown. Today, we venture high into the majestic Rocky Mountains where towering peaks touch the sky, dense forests conceal secrets, and the silence of the wilderness is broken only by the whispers of the past. The Rockies are not just a wonder of natural beauty, they are also home to some of the most terrifying hauntings in North America. From ghost towns that echo with the cries of miners, to haunted hotels where restless spirits check in but never leave. The Rocky Mountains hold more than just breathtaking views. They guard chilling tales of tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural. So gather close, dim the lights, and join me as we uncover the most 10 haunted places in the Rocky Mountains. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, stands as one of the most iconic haunted locations in the Rocky Mountains. Its sprawling white facade and majestic position overlooking the town seems serene at first glance. Yet behind its elegant exterior lies a legacy of ghostly legends and eerie experiences that have drawn countless visitors. Seeking both luxury and the paranormal. Built in 1909 by Freelon Oscar Stanley, co-inventor of the Stanley steamer automobile, the hotel was intended to be a grand retreat for the wealthy elite. Stanley himself came to Estes Park seeking health benefits from the crisp mountain air after contracting tuberculosis. He recovered, but the hotel he constructed would go on to be remembered not for its luxury alone, but for the mysteries and spirits that seemed to take root within its walls. The Stanley is perhaps best known today as the inspiration for Stephen King's novel, The Shining. King stayed at the hotel in 1974, and his unsettling experience wandering its near-empty halls, combined with a vivid nightmare of his son being chased, planted the seed for what would become one of the most famous horror stories ever written. While King's fictional overlooked hotel is a twisted creation of his imagination, the real Stanley Hotel has plenty of spectral tales of its own. One of the most enduring stories surrounds the ballroom, a grand space designed for parties and gatherings. Guests and staff alike have reported hearing faint piano music echoing through the room late at night, long after it has been emptied. The source of the music is often attributed to Flora Stanley, Freeland's wife, who was said to be a devoted pianist. Some visitors claim to have walked into the ballroom only to see a figure seated at the piano, vanishing the moment they approach. Others describe hearing the distinct sound of keys being pressed, yet upon inspection, the instrument remains untouched. Room 217 has become one of the most famous and sought-after rooms in the entire hotel, not only because Stephen King stayed there, but because of the ghostly activity often reported within its walls. Guests have described waking in the middle of the night to find a woman's figure hovering near the bed, sometimes tucking in the blankets or standing silently at the foot of the mattress. The apparition is thought to be Elizabeth Wilson, a housekeeper who was injured in an explosion in that very room in 1911 but survived. Her spirit, it seems, never left. Paranormal investigators often report strange electromagnetic fluctuations in the room, unexplained cold spots, and voices caught on recordings. The hallways of the Stanley are equally notorious. Visitors frequently speak of hearing children's laughter echoing through the corridors, even when no families are staying in that wing of the hotel. Shadows are seen darting across doorways, and some guests report a persistent feeling of being watched. The long hallways, already unnerving in their symmetry, seem to stretch endlessly, making the sudden flash of movement or burst of sound all the more chilling. The fourth floor has its own reputation. Once a servant's floor, it is said to be the most active area of the hotel. People describe hearing footsteps pacing back and forth above them when no one should be there, as well as doors that slam with no explanation. Room 401 in particular has been tied to unsettling activity, with guests experiencing strange sensations of being touched or seeing hazy figures standing in the corner. Paranormal investigators have flocked to the Stanley for decades, and their recordings often capture disembodied voices, muffled conversations, and mysterious sounds like distant music or knocks in response to questions. Thermal imaging cameras sometimes reveal humanoid shapes moving through empty rooms, and photographs taken by tourists have occasionally shown ghostly figures lingering in the background. What makes the Stanley Hotel particularly fascinating is how its haunting is woven into its very identity. Unlike many historic sites that shy away from ghost stories, the Stanley embraces its spectral residents. Guests can take nightly ghost tours, exploring the most active areas of the building, while hearing the tales of those who encountered the unexplainable. For some, the tours are thrilling entertainment. For others, they are genuine brushes with the supernatural. Even skeptics admit there is something unusual about the atmosphere of the hotel. Whether it is the heavy history of the place, the power of suggestion, or something truly paranormal, many visitors leave with experiences they cannot easily dismiss. Some have walked away with recordings of voices whispering their names, while others carry the memory of sudden chills in rooms where the air should have been still. The Stanley Hotel remains a paradox, a place of beauty and luxury nestled in the Rockies, yet also a place where the past seems unwilling to let go. Its legends are not just fueled by Stephen King's imagination, but by decades of first-hand accounts from guests and staff who swear they encountered something beyond explanation. For those who walk its long corridors at night, the line between history and haunting blurs, and the echoes of unseen presences linger long after the lights go out. Hotel Colorado in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, is a place where luxury and tragedy intertwine in a way that seems to have left a permanent scar on the building itself. Built in 1893 by silver baron Walter Devereux, the hotel was intended as a grand retreat for wealthy visitors seeking the healing powers of the region's hot springs. With its lavish architecture and European-inspired design, it quickly earned the nickname the Little White House of the West, and attracted politicians, celebrities, and dignitaries. But beneath the elegance lies a darker history, one that has fueled countless stories of ghostly encounters. One of the most chilling aspects of Hotel Colorado's past occurred during World War II. When the Grand Resort was converted into a naval hospital, soldiers wounded in battle were brought to Glenwood Springs to recover war, in many cases, to take their last breaths. For many locals, the image of the hotel transformed from a glamorous retreat into a place of suffering and loss. Patients died in its rooms and hallways, their stories ending far from home. It is said that many of these souls never moved on, leaving behind echoes of their pain that still linger within the hotel's walls. Guests and staff alike report shadowy figures roaming the building, particularly concentrated on the third floor. These apparitions are often described as fleeting shapes, more like dark silhouettes than fully formed figures, silently moving past doorways or down the hall before vanishing into thin air. Some visitors who stay on this floor say they wake in the middle of the night to the sensation of being watched, only to catch a glimpse of a shadow by their bed that disappears as quickly as it appeared. The sounds within the hotel only deepen the sense of unease. Late at night, when the halls should be silent, guests have reported hearing screams echoing through the building, screams that seem to come from nowhere. Staff members, long accustomed to the eerie reputation of the hotel, admit that even they are unsettled by these phantom cries. Many believe they are the last anguished voices of patients who died during the hospital years, forever trapped within the walls of Hotel Colorado. Equally unsettling are the stories of ghostly nurses. Several guests have described seeing women in outdated nurse uniforms moving briskly through the halls, as though still tending to the wounded. Witnesses often note how these apparitions never acknowledge anyone, continuing their duties as if locked in some eternal loop of service. One former guest recalled waking in the night to find a nurse standing at the foot of the bed, her face pale and unreadable. When the guest sat up in shock, the nurse simply faded into nothingness, leaving behind only a cold chill in the room. But not all of the spirits said to haunt Hotel Colorado are tied to the wartime hospital. Some accounts point back to the hotel's earliest years. Walter Devereux, the wealthy silver baron who built the hotel, is believed by some to still wander the building. Guests often report the unmistakable smell of cigar smoke drifting through empty rooms and hallways, a scent attributed to Devereux himself, who was known to enjoy smoking cigars. It is said that his spirit lingers in the hotel, keeping watch over his creation, unwilling to let go of the legacy he built. There are also tales of children's laughter echoing in the halls. At times, guests report hearing the playful sounds of running footsteps when no children are present in the hotel. Some believe these are the spirits of children who once stayed with their families long ago, their innocent joy imprinted upon the building's history. Others, however, argue that such cheerful sounds take on a more sinister tone in the context of a haunted hotel, leaving visitors unsettled rather than comforted. Paranormal investigators who have visited Hotel Colorado often come away with compelling evidence. Recordings capture faint voices where no one was present, and electromagnetic field meters spike in seemingly random areas of the hotel. Some investigators claim to have caught glimpses of figures moving across the ballroom or through the third-floor corridors, only to vanish when approached. One team even documented what appeared to be the faint outline of a nurse on film, standing in a doorway before dissolving into shadow. The atmosphere of the hotel itself seems to intensify these experiences. Its grand architecture, dimly lit hallways, and echoes of the past create an environment that feels almost designed to foster paranormal encounters. For those sensitive to such things, the energy in the building is said to be overwhelming, as though the walls themselves are saturated with memories of both joy and suffering. Today, Hotel Colorado remains a functioning and beloved historic landmark, drawing visitors from around the world. Many come for its beauty and history, but others arrive hoping to encounter the ghosts that have made it infamous. Whether it's the phantom nurses, the cries of the dying, or the lingering presence of Walter Depp, the spirits of the hotel seem determined to remind the living of all that has taken place within its walls. St. Elmo, tucked away in the rugged mountains of Chaffee County, Colorado, is more than just another relic of the Old West. It is a ghost town in every sense of the word, a place where time has stopped, where wooden buildings lean against the winds of passing centuries, and where whispers of the past seem to drift in and out with the mountain air. Founded in 1880 during Colorado's silver and gold rush, St. Elmo once thrived as a bustling mining community. At its height, nearly 2,000 residents filled its saloons, hotels, dance halls, and general store. But as the mines dwindled and fortunes faded, the town emptied almost overnight in the 1920s, leaving behind little more than weathered timber and untold stories. Yet, even though its population fled, some say not every soul truly left St. Elmo. Among the ghostly tales that linger in this desolate town, none are more enduring or more unsettling than that of Annabelle Stark, better known as Dirty Annie. Annabelle was the daughter of Anton and Anna Stark, who ran the general store, the telegraph office, and the post office in town. Unlike the wealthier families who abandoned St. Elmo when the mines closed, the Stark family stayed, clinging to the place long after it had fallen silent. Annabelle and her siblings, especially her brother Tony, became known as reclusive, eccentric figures. Locals remembered them as strange and unfriendly, keeping mostly to themselves and maintaining a wary eye on outsiders. Annabelle in particular was said to dress in ragged clothes, her hair disheveled, her face often smudged with dirt. She earned the nickname Dirty Annie, a moniker that stuck with her through life and, it seems, into death. After the town's abandonment, the Stark family continued to operate the store, though with few customers and little reason to stock the shelves. When the last of her family passed away, Annabelle remained alone in the decaying town. It is said she wandered its empty streets and creaking buildings, muttering to herself, glaring at the rare visitor who wandered through, and fiercely guarding what she considered her domain. She died in 1952, but according to many who visit St. Elmo today, she never truly departed. Modern tourists who explore the town often report strange encounters around the general store, where Annabelle spent most of her days. Some describe the chilling sensation of being watched from the upper windows, only to look up and glimpse the shadowy figure of a woman standing there before vanishing. Others claim to have seen her reflection in the dusty glass, even when no one else was in the building. Cold drafts sweep through the store on still summer days, rattling shelves and slamming doors as though someone invisible is pacing angrily through the rooms. Visitors walking the gravel paths that crisscross the ghost town often hear the crunch of footsteps behind them, only to turn and find no one there. The sound of skirts brushing along the floorboards has been reported inside the old buildings, and some say the faint murmur of a woman's voice can be heard in the silence, muttering unintelligibly, perhaps echoing the solitary rambles of Annabelle herself. Paranormal investigators who have spent nights in St. Elmo recount eerie experiences as well. Cameras fail inexplicably, batteries drain, and audio recordings sometimes capture faint whispers or sudden bursts of static that sound like a woman's cry. In photographs, hazy outlines sometimes appear in the store windows, resembling the figure of a woman watching. It is as if Annabelle is still there, guarding the only home she ever knew, unwilling to let go of the town she lived in until her last breath. But Annabelle is not the only spirit said to haunt St. Elmo. Some claim to see miners, their faces obscured by shadows, lingering near the entrances of abandoned shafts. On cold nights, a faint glow has been seen flickering in the distance, as though lanterns swing in the hands of long-dead workers still searching for silver and gold. The sound of distant hammering, picks striking stone, and the rumble of ore carts has been reported echoing through the canyons, though the mines have been silent for a century. The eerie stillness of the town seems to magnify every sound and every shadow, making visitors question whether they are truly alone. St. Elmo's sagging porches, sun-bleached wood, and leaning chimneys create a backdrop that feels almost alive with memory. It is a place where history breathes in the mountain wind, where the line between past and present feels unusually thin. For some, St. Elmo is a fascinating step back into the past, a chance to walk streets frozen in time. For others, it is a chilling reminder that not all who live there have moved on. Annabelle Stark remains the ghostly guardian of the town, a restless spirit bound by loneliness, memory, and perhaps resentment for the life she lived. Her presence is a reminder that some places cannot be truly abandoned, that the echoes of the past can cling to the earth just as stubbornly as the Stark family clung to their home. To wander through St. Elmo is to feel that weight of history pressing close, to hear the whispers in the silence, and to sense eyes upon you, even when the streets appear empty. In the fading light of dusk, when shadows lengthen across the town's weathered buildings, it becomes clear why St. Elmo is considered one of Colorado's most haunted places, where the dead refuse to be forgotten, and where the lonely figure of Dirty Annie still seems to drift among the ruins of her lost world. The Fairplay Hotel, nestled in the quiet mountain town of Fairplay, Colorado, is more than just a piece of rustic history. Built in the early 20th century to serve the miners, ranchers, and travelers who passed through South Park, it quickly became a landmark of hospitality in the Rockies. But behind its charming facade and creaking wooden floors lies a reputation steeped in eerie legends, whispered stories, and ghostly encounters that have made it one of the most haunted hotels in the region. Guests who step through its doors are often struck by the atmosphere within. The building itself seems frozen in time, with hardwood floors that echo beneath every footstep, staircases that groan under the weight of unseen travelers, and antique furnishings that give the impression of a place where the past is still very much alive. Yet many claim that not all of its residents ever checked out. One of the most common reports from overnight guests involves the sound of boots pacing across the hallways. In the dead of night, when the hotel is still and empty, the heavy sound of footsteps travels up and down the corridors. Many who have heard it describe the distinct rhythm of a miner's stride, deliberate, slow, and worn, as though someone were returning home after a long day of labor. Yet when the brave open their doors to investigate, they find only empty halls, stretching silently into the shadows. The doors of the Fairplay Hotel also seem to have a mind of their own. Visitors frequently report them slamming shut with such force that the walls rattle, even when no draft or person could possibly explain it. Others describe trying to open locked doors that suddenly swing wide on their own, as though an unseen hand were either inviting them in or warning them away. Whispers are another unnerving detail often encountered here. Murmurs slip through the walls, soft and indistinguishable, like voices having a conversation just out of earshot. Some guests have pressed their ears against the plaster only to find that the room next door is unoccupied. Others claim the whispers call out to them directly, their names uttered in low, breathy tones that vanish when the listener turns to confront them. Among the many ghostly tales tied to the hotel, one chilling legend stands out above all others: the story of the murdered miner. According to local lore, a prospector who struck gold in the surrounding mountains was killed in a violent robbery near the town. Some believe his restless spirit returned not to the site of his death, but to the Fairplay Hotel, a place he had frequented in life. Witnesses described seeing his shadowy figure lingering in the doorways or standing silently at the edge of their rooms, his face twisted in sorrow and anger. Some even report waking in the night to find him at the foot of their bed, his presence oppressive and mournful. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Fairplay Hotel claim that its energy is strongest in the darkest hours, often spiking between 2 and 3 in the morning. Devices used to measure electromagnetic fields light up suddenly in vacant rooms, and digital recorders sometimes capture faint voices responding to questions. Shadows purportedly move against the walls even when no light source is shifting, and investigators often leave with the sensation that they were being watched, followed, or even touched. One guest recounted waking in the middle of the night to the sound of boots pacing the hallway just outside their room. When they summoned the courage to peek out, they swore they saw a man in tattered work clothes and a miner's hat standing at the end of the corridor. His figure faded before their eyes, leaving nothing but the still silence of the hotel. Another story tells of a couple who checked into the hotel only to be kept awake by the sound of whispered arguments coming from the empty room next door. They described the voices as so vivid that it felt as though two unseen guests were fighting furiously. Yet, when they asked the front desk in the morning, they were told that no one had stayed in that room for weeks. Despite the frightening accounts, the Fairplay Hotel continues to attract guests who seek both a cozy mountain stay and a brush with the supernatural. Its reputation as a haunted haven has made it a destination for thrill seekers, ghost hunters, and skeptics alike. For some, it's an unnerving encounter they'll never forget. For others, it's a story that becomes another layer in the hotel's already rich tapestry of legend. To this day, the Fairplay Hotel stands as both a relic of Colorado's mining past and a place where history refuses to rest. Whether it is the murdered miner searching for justice, unseen voices echoing through the halls, or the simple energy of decades of life and death imprinted on the walls, something lingers here. Guests arrive for the history, the charm, and the mountain air, but many leave with stories of footsteps in the night, shadows at their bedside, and whispers that follow them long after they've gone. The Brown Palace Hotel in Denver, Colorado, stands as one of the most iconic landmarks in the city. Opened in 1892, the hotel was built in a time when Denver was rapidly growing into a thriving city of wealth and ambition. Its architecture is striking, a blend of Italian Renaissance style and towering grandeur, with a stunning 8-story atrium at its heart. Over the decades, it has welcomed presidents, celebrities, dignitaries, and countless travelers drawn to its elegance and reputation. But for all its beauty and prestige, the Brown Palace has long carried whispers of an unsettling truth. The spirits of the past may never have checked out. The hotel's history is steeped in luxury, yet also shadowed by stories of death, tragedy, and lingering presences. Staff and guests alike have told stories of strange noises, apparitions, and sensations that defy explanation. Some have even suggested that the Brown Palace's very design, with its triangular shape and intricate interior passages, creates an environment where energy never quite disperses, leaving echoes of the past to drift endlessly through its halls. One of the most well-known stories connected to the hotel is that of the ghostly string quartet. Many have claimed to hear faint music drifting through the lobby and into the atrium, the delicate sound of violins, cellos, and violas harmonizing together. Guests often describe the music as beautifully haunting, but when they turn to see the source, no musicians are present. Even late at night, long after any scheduled performances, the music seems to carry through the grand space, as though the spirits of past entertainers have returned to play one final concert. Some staff members have even reported that the sound is most distinct when the hotel is quiet, the faint notes rising and fading as though carried on an invisible breeze. Room 904 is another focal point for paranormal activity within the Brown Palace. Guests who have stayed there tell unsettling tales of lights flickering on and off without explanation, objects moving on their own, and sudden drops in temperature that leave an icy chill clinging to the air. Some have woken in the middle of the night to find the sense of being watched, only to see the shadowy outline of a figure near the foot of the bed, vanishing as soon as they blinked. Paranormal investigators who have studied the room have reported high readings of electromagnetic activity, especially during the late-night hours, suggesting that something beyond the ordinary is at work. Perhaps the most chilling and enduring presence said to haunt the Brown Palace is the spirit of a long-dead chambermaid. For years, guests and staff have reported seeing her wandering the hallways, moving with the quiet, deliberate steps of someone still tending to her duties. Witnesses describe her as wearing the old-fashioned uniform of a maid from the early 1900s, complete with apron and cap, her expression serious and distant, as though she is still devoted to her work even in death. She is most often spotted in the upper floors of the hotel, sometimes appearing in doorways or vanishing around corners just as someone turns their head. One guest recounted waking to see her standing at the side of the bed, only for the figure to fade into the air like smoke. Over the years, numerous other reports have added to the Brown Palace's haunted reputation. Disembodied voices have been heard whispering through empty corridors, sometimes so clear that guests believe someone is speaking right behind them. Elevators are said to stop on floors unbidden, doors sliding open to reveal empty hallways. Staff members working late at night often describe the sensation of being followed, their footsteps echoing in time with unseen ones just behind them. On occasion, cigar smoke has been smelled drifting through certain areas of the hotel. Despite smoking being banned and no one present to explain it, the connection between the Brown Palace and Denver's darker history cannot be ignored. Over its lifetime, the hotel has been the site of countless stories of wealth, scandal, and sorrow. In the early years, Denver was a place of both prosperity and lawlessness, and rumors swirled of affairs, betrayals, and even violent deaths tied to those who frequented the Brown Palace. Many believe that the strong emotions of those times above, jealousy, rage, despair, may have left their imprint on the building, keeping the energy of the past alive long after those who experienced it were gone. For paranormal enthusiasts, the Brown Palace has become a magnet. Ghost tours and investigations have been held there, and while skeptics remain, the sheer volume of experiences reported makes it difficult to dismiss entirely. Some investigators claim that the Brown Palace operates like a time capsule, its walls holding on to the energy of every soul that has passed through, replaying echoes of the past to those sensitive enough to notice. Yet for many visitors, the hauntings only add to the hotel's mystique. To stay at the Brown Palace is to step into both history and legend, to walk the same hallways as presidents and dignitaries, while feeling the brush of unseen presences from another age. The elegance of the hotel masks the shadows that move through it, but those who have experienced its darker side leave with stories they can never quite forget. The Brown Palace Hotel remains one of Denver's most luxurious destinations, its reputation untarnished despite its spectral residents. But for those who believe in the supernatural, the hotel offers more than just comfort and grandeur. It offers a glimpse into the unknown, a place where history refuses to stay silent and where echoes of the past continue to play long into the night. For every guest who checks in, there is always the chance they will encounter not just luxury and beauty, but the restless spirits that still call the Brown Palace home. Hotel Jerome in Aspen, Colorado, is a building where history, elegance, and sorrow intertwine. Built in 1889 during the height of Colorado's silver boom, the Grand Hotel was a symbol of wealth, sophistication, and luxury. With its Victorian design and promise of refinement, it quickly became the pride of Aspen, hosting the rich and powerful who came to the mountain town for business and leisure. Yet beneath its polished halls and lavish lies a far more unsettling story. Over the decades, Hotel Jerome has gained a reputation as one of the most haunted places in Colorado, with tales of lingering spirits who never checked out. The most famous of these spirits is known simply as Waterboy. His story is one that blends tragedy with a sense of eternal longing. In the 1930s, a young boy staying at the hotel drowned in its swimming pool. The details of his death are sparse. Some say he slipped while playing near the edge. Others whisper he was left unattended for just a few short moments that proved fatal. What is certain is that his life ended far too soon, and many believe his spirit remains tethered to the hotel. Guests and staff have reported seeing small, wet footprints appearing in the hallways, trailing across the carpet and hardwood floors, only to vanish abruptly. Some have even glimpsed a young boy standing silently near the pool, clothes dripping wet, his face pale and mournful. When approached, he disappears into thin air, leaving behind only the chill of sorrow. Many accounts of the water boy come late at night. Those wandering the halls after midnight describe hearing faint splashing sounds echoing from the pool, though no one is inside. Others wake in their rooms to the sensation of dampness at the foot of their bed, as though a child has climbed up with wet skin and soaked clothing. One particularly chilling report comes from a couple who stayed at the hotel during the winter. With the pool closed for the season, they were startled by the sound of water dripping in their bathroom. When they checked, they saw the reflection of a small boy standing behind them in the mirror, only to turn and find the room completely empty. But the water boy is not the only spirit said to linger in Hotel Jerome. Staff have long whispered of strange occurrences in the hotel bar, where glasses shatter on their own and bottles slide across shelves without explanation. Bartenders describe moments when the atmosphere shifts suddenly, the air growing heavy and cold, as though unseen eyes are watching. Some claim they have heard their own names whispered in the dead of night, carried on a voice they do not recognize. Guests have also experienced sudden drops in temperature while enjoying a drink, only to notice shadows moving in corners where no one stands. Upstairs in the guest rooms, stories grow even stranger. Lights flicker without cause, objects are moved from where they were left, and doors open and close on their own. One guest reported waking to the sound of a child laughing outside their door. When they checked the hallway, it was completely empty, though faint wet footprints led down the corridor before fading away. Another visitor claimed that while staying alone in their room, they awoke to find the imprint of a small body pressed into the sheets beside them, though no one else had been there. Employees of the hotel have grown accustomed to the inexplicable. Housekeepers in particular report the feeling of being watched while they work, as if unseen figures linger in the rooms they tend to. Some have even claimed to see the apparition of a woman in old-fashioned clothing wandering the upper floors, vanishing into walls or slipping into unoccupied rooms. Whether she was once a guest or an employee remains uncertain, but her presence adds to the unsettling atmosphere that seems to cling to the hotel. Hotel Jerome's haunted reputation has drawn paranormal investigators who come searching for proof of what so many guests have described. Investigators report fluctuations in electromagnetic fields throughout the building, particularly near the pool and in certain guest rooms. Recordings made in the dead of night have captured faint whispers, the sound of splashing water, and even the laughter of a child. One group claimed to see a shadowy figure darting across the pool area, while another witnessed chairs moving without anyone touching them. Despite its ghostly tales, Hotel Jerome remains a place of beauty and history. Its walls hold the echoes of Aspen's past, both its triumphs and its tragedies. Perhaps it is this deep connection to memory that explains why spirits still walk its halls. The Waterboy, in particular, seems to embody the lingering sadness of a life cut short, a reminder that even in places of wealth and joy, sorrow leaves its mark. Guests today continue to flock to Hotel Jerome for its luxury, unaware of the spirits they may encounter. Some leave with stories they never expected to tell, tales of phantom footsteps, mysterious chills, and encounters with a dripping wet child who vanishes before their eyes. For others, the hotel is simply a place of rest, its ghosts choosing to remain unseen. But those who have experienced the paranormal know that the hotel is far from ordinary. Hotel Jerome stands as a haunting reminder that history is never truly gone. The walls remember, the floors echo with footsteps of the past, and the spirits of those who once walked its halls linger still. In its elegance lies an undercurrent of the uncanny, a truth whispered in the dead of night. Beauty and sorrow often walk hand in hand, and the ghosts of yesterday are never as far away as we might wish. Perched high atop the hills of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the Crescent Hotel stands as an architectural gem with a history darker than its grand facade suggests. Built in 1886, the hotel's stunning Victorian design and panoramic views of the Ozark Mountains have long attracted tourists. But it is the sinister tales within its walls that draw thrill seekers and paranormal investigators alike. Often dubbed America's most haunted hotel, the Crescent is more than just a historical landmark. It is a place where tragedy, deception, and restless spirits converge. The hotel's dark reputation largely stems from its time as a hospital in the 1930s under Dr. Norman Baker. Baker, a self-proclaimed genius, claimed to have discovered cures for cancer and other terminal illnesses. Desperate patients flocked to the Crescent hoping for salvation, only to meet grim fates. Many suffered under unproven treatments, and some died within the hospital's walls. It is said that the energy of these tormented souls never left, and they continue to roam the corridors of the hotel, their presence felt in both subtle and terrifying ways. The basement of the Crescent Hotel, which once served as a morgue, is notorious for paranormal activity. Visitors often report hearing muffled cries and screams echoing through the stone walls, as if the anguished patients of the past are replaying their final moments. Shadows are frequently seen moving along the corridors, and some guests claim to feel icy hands brushing against them as they descend the stairwell. The oppressive atmosphere in the basement is palpable, even to those who do not believe in ghosts, and many describe an overwhelming sense of dread while walking through its halls. Room 218 has earned a fearsome reputation among visitors. Known for violent poltergeist activity, the room has been the site of objects moving on their own, chairs sliding across the floor, and doors slamming shut without explanation. Guests staying in room 218 have reported being pushed by unseen forces, their beds shaking as if an invisible occupant shares the room. Some have even awakened to find personal items strewn across the floor, completely displaced from where they were left. Paranormal investigators have documented spikes in electromagnetic readings and captured unexplained voices on audio equipment, reinforcing the notion that the room is a nexus of supernatural energy. Throughout the hotel, other phenomena are reported with alarming frequency. Guests have seen apparitions of patients wandering the hallways in old-fashioned hospital gowns, their faces pale and expressionless. Footsteps echo in empty corridors, and doors creak open without a breeze to explain it. In some rooms, visitors feel sudden drops in temperature, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Mirrors occasionally reflect fleeting figures behind the observer, only to vanish when turned to face directly. Many guests describe a sensation of heavy, oppressive energy, as though the spirits of those who suffered under Baker's care are still bound to the building. Even the grand areas of the hotel, once bustling with luxury and entertainment, are not immune to paranormal activity. The lobby has been known to experience sudden cold spots and unexplained sounds of footsteps, as if guests from decades past are retracing their paths. Staff members have recounted hearing whispers, laughter, or distant cries, seemingly emanating from empty rooms or the stairwells. Some claim that the spirits are drawn to the living, attempting to communicate their lingering pain or demand acknowledgement of their tragic fates. Many visitors have documented their experiences, capturing shadowy figures on camera or recording eerie, disembodied voices. These accounts, along with the hotel's well-preserved Victorian architecture, create a hauntingly vivid tableau of the past. The Crescent Hotel does not just preserve history, it preserves the echoes of suffering, the restless energy of those who met untimely ends, and the chilling atmosphere of a building where the line between the living and the dead is thin. Despite its terrifying reputation, the Crescent Hotel continues to attract guests. Drawn by its beauty, history, and infamous haunting, paranormal tours offer visitors a chance to explore the basement morgue, room 218, and the countless hallways where spectral activity is most often reported. Many leave with stories of brushes with the unknown, fleeting figures in hallways, cold spots in rooms, and the overwhelming sensation of being watched. For some, the hotel is a thrilling adventure. For others, it is an unnerving encounter with the past that lingers far longer than the duration of their stay. The Crescent Hotel remains a testament to the intersection of grandeur and horror. Its history as a luxury retreat, combined with its dark period under Dr. Baker's care, has left an indelible mark on the building. The spirits of those who suffered and died within its walls are said to roam freely, visible only to those open to seeing them. In Eureka Springs, the Crescent Hotel is not merely a destination, it is a doorway into the macabre, a place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural intertwine. Visitors who walk its halls may leave with more than memories of scenic vistas and ornate architecture. They may leave with the unsettling sense that the past is never truly gone, and some souls never rest. Beneath the rugged slopes of the Colorado Rockies, where the wind whistles through the peaks and valleys, lie the remnants of one of America's most legendary gold rush towns, Cripple Creek and its neighboring city, Victor, in the late 1800s. This region was a beacon for fortune seekers. Thousands of prospectors flooded the area, with dreams of striking it rich, burrowing deep into the mountains with pickaxes, shovels, and a relentless hunger for gold. The mines they carved transformed the towns into booming hubs of wealth, gambling, and ambition. But beneath that glittering promise of prosperity lurked danger, tragedy, and death, and many believed that those who perished in the darkness of the mines never truly left. The Cripple Creek and Victor mines are not simply abandoned tunnels in the earth. They are haunted cathedrals of stone, where echoes of the past still stir. Miners worked in brutal conditions, their lives constantly at risk from falling rock, poisonous gas, cave-ins, and explosions. A single spark could ignite trapped methane, and a single shift could be a man's last. When tragedy struck, bodies were often left entombed in collapsed shafts, sealed away forever by the mountain itself. Families grieved, but closure was rare. And so, according to local lore, the restless spirits of these men linger, their souls chained to the tunnels where they lived, suffered, and died. Explorers who dare venture into the abandoned shafts often describe an oppressive atmosphere, as if the very air grows heavy with sorrow and warning. Many recount hearing the metallic clang of pickaxes striking rock, the rhythmic sound echoing through the tunnels, even though no human hand wields the tools. Some claim to hear faint voices drifting through the darkness, murmuring in tones too low to make out. Others describe sudden gusts of cold air brushing past their skin. Despite the stillness of the underground world, it is as though the mine itself breathes with the memories of those who once toiled within it. Shadows are another common phenomenon reported in the depths of the Cripple Creek and Victor mines. Torchlight or lanterns often reveal flickering shapes that dart just out of sight, figures that seem to linger at the edge of perception. Witnesses have described seeing full apparitions of miners' faces, smudged with soot, eyes hollow and mournful, who vanish the instant they are approached. Some claim these figures attempt to communicate, pointing deeper into the mines or warning explorers to leave. One of the most chilling accounts comes from those who feel physical contact. Adventurers, wandering too close to unstable ledges or deep drops, sometimes report the sensation of unseen hands shoving them forward. Though no one is visible, the push is undeniable, as if the spirits of angry or desperate miners are trying to drag others into the same fate that claimed them. On rare occasions, explorers have emerged shaken, with bruises on their shoulders or arms as though gripped by unseen fingers. Locals believe the mountains themselves play a role in this haunting. To many, the spirits of Cripple Creek and Victor are not merely the lost souls of miners, but guardians of the earth's treasures. Cursed or bound to defend the veins of gold they once sought in life, it is said that the land remembers the greed, the blood, and the suffering it witnessed, and it does not easily let go of its secrets. Stories circulate of explorers who mocked the spirits or disrespected the tunnels, only to meet with sudden misfortune falls, accidents, or mysterious illnesses that struck soon after their visits. Above ground, the ghostly activity seems to seep into the towns themselves. Cripple Creek, now a place where history blends with modern tourism, still carries whispers of its haunted past. Visitors report hearing disembodied footsteps on old wooden porches, or catching glimpses of ghostly figures in miners' garb disappearing into alleyways. In Victor, abandoned buildings creak as though walked upon by invisible feet, and windows sometimes reveal pale faces staring down into the streets below. The haunted lore of Cripple Creek and Victor mines has attracted countless paranormal investigators. Teams equipped with modern technology, MF detectors, digital recorders, thermal cameras have entered the tunnels, only to emerge with chilling evidence. Recordings capture faint voices answering questions. Cameras have revealed strange light anomalies, floating orbs, and unexplained shadows. Some investigators even refuse to return, unnerved by the overwhelming sense of dread and sorrow that seems to cling to the underground chambers. But perhaps the most haunting element of all is the silence that falls in certain areas of the mines. Explorers have described entering pockets where all sound vanishes, the dripping of water, the crunch of boots, even the sound of their own breathing seems swallowed by the stone. In those moments, the silence feels alive, as though the spirits are holding their breath, waiting, watching. Many describe a sudden overwhelming urge to flee, unable to endure the invisible weight pressing down on them. Cripple Creek and Victor are reminders that the pursuit of wealth often carries a devastating cost. The mountains may have yielded gold, but they also took countless lives. Today, those lives seem etched into the very fabric of the land, forever echoing through the shafts and tunnels that once promised fortune. For some, the mines stand as a monument to human ambition and tragedy. For others, they remain a haunted realm, where restless spirits guard the depths and the echoes of pickaxes ring long after the last miner has gone. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, stepping into the abandoned mines of Cripple Creek and Victor feels like stepping into another world. The darkness, the history, the weight of countless untold stories, it all converges into an atmosphere that is undeniably unsettling. And perhaps that is why the legends endure. Because in those tunnels, silence is never truly silent, and shadows are never just shadows. The spirits of the gold rush still linger, bound to the earth they once carved, reminding all who enter that some treasures come at too high a price. Perched on the slopes of the Rocky Mountains, Idaho Springs is a town steeped in mining history, where fortunes were made and lives were often lost in equal measure. Just beyond the bustle of the historic downtown lies the Idaho Springs Cemetery, a resting place for pioneers, miners, and families who carved their existence out of Colorado's rugged landscape. To the casual visitor, it looks like any other old burial ground, rows of weathered headstones, wrought iron fences bent with age, and the wild flowers of summer swaying between graves. But for those who linger, the cemetery holds a deeper, more unsettling presence. It is said to be one of the most haunted sites in the Rockies, a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Burials here stretch back to the late 1800s, when Idaho Springs flourished as a mining town. Men toiled underground in dangerous shafts, women endured harsh frontier life, and families struggled against disease, accidents, and sudden violence. Death was frequent and often tragic, and the cemetery grew quickly, dotted with simple wooden markers and more elaborate stone monuments. Some of the earliest graves belonged to children lost to epidemics, miners killed in cave-ins, and settlers who perished in duels or brawls. Each life was cut short, and many believe their restless spirits still wander among the graves, tethered to the earth by sorrow and unfinished business. Visitors often describe a strange heaviness upon entering the cemetery. Even on bright days, shadows seem to cling to the trees that line the grounds, and a bone-deep chill settles over those who walk among the headstones. Paranormal investigators frequently report sudden drops in temperature, so sharp that breath fogs in the air, despite summer heat. Thermometers dip dramatically, and electronic equipment falters. Some believe these cold spots are the direct presence of spirits, gathering around the living as if to remind them that they are never truly alone. One of the most common reports involves glowing orbs of light drifting silently between the graves. These strange illuminations appear at dusk and in the dead of night, sometimes floating low to the ground, other times darting quickly from stone to stone. Skeptics chalk them up to swamp gas or tricks of the eye, but those who have witnessed the lights insist they move with intelligence, even responding to questions. During and ghost hunts, cameras often capture them, glowing in hues of blue, green, or white, though the lights are invisible to the naked eye. Shadowy figures are another frequent phenomenon. Many visitors have spotted silhouettes standing motionless among the graves, only to vanish when approached. Some appear dressed in miners' clothing, while others look like women in old-fashioned dresses, their outlines stark in the dim light. These apparitions seem to linger at the edges of the cemetery, watching silently, as though guarding the resting place of the dead. On more than one occasion, explorers have reported a figure following them from a distance, footsteps crunching on gravel, only for the sound to stop abruptly when they turn to look. The sounds that echo through Idaho Springs Cemetery are perhaps its most chilling aspect. Mournful sobbing is often heard, faint at first, then growing louder before dissolving into silence. Some visitors describe it as the weeping of a woman grieving endlessly for a lost child, while others think it may be the lament of miners who never returned from the shafts. Disembodied voices also murmur through the night air, whispering words that can't be made out. Paranormal recordings have captured faint cries for help, names being called, and even laughter that quickly curdles into something more sinister. Photographs taken in the cemetery frequently reveal details that were not visible at the time. Faces materialize in the mists that gathered between the stones, some twisted in anguish, others eerily serene. Strange forms, resembling skeletal hands or translucent figures, often appear hovering over graves. One chilling photo shows a small child's face peering from behind a marker, even though no children were present during the visit. Such images are a staple among local ghost hunters, many of whom consider Idaho Springs Cemetery a prime location for paranormal evidence. Local legend holds that not all spirits here are passive. There are stories of visitors being touched, shoved, or even scratched by unseen forces. One man claimed he felt a hand grip his shoulder tightly while he was photographing a grave, only to turn and find no one there. Another woman described being pushed so hard she stumbled forward, as though an angry spirit was warning her away from a particular section of the ground. These encounters have given rise to the belief that some souls buried here are fiercely protective, unwilling to tolerate intruders disturbing their eternal rest. Despite its eerie reputation, the cemetery continues to draw those fascinated by the paranormal. Ghost tours occasionally stop nearby, and curious travelers wander among the graves, hoping for a glimpse of the supernatural. Locals, however, treat the place with caution and respect. Many avoid it after dark, convinced that the spirits are more active once the sun sets behind the mountains. The Idaho Springs Cemetery stands as more than just a burial ground. It is a silent chronicle of the hardships, tragedies, and sacrifices that shaped the mining boom of Colorado. Each headstone marks not just a death, but a story cut short. And if the tales of glowing lights, shadow figures, and ghostly sobs are true, those stories are still being told, through whispers carried on the mountain wind, through shadows that flicker between gravestones, and through the heavy presence that presses on anyone who dares to step inside. In the stillness of the cemetery, past and present, blurred together, and one cannot help but feel that the miners, mothers, and children who lie there never truly left. Their spirits linger in the thin mountain air, waiting, watching and mourning the lives they lost too soon. Idaho Springs Cemetery reminds us that history is not only remembered in books and monuments, it is etched into the earth itself, and sometimes it refuses to let go. Perched at the edge of Buffalo, Wyoming, with the Bighorn Mountains rising majestically behind it, the Occidental Hotel stands as a living relic of the Old West, built in 1880. This grand establishment has welcomed generations of travelers, miners, cowboys, and townsfolk. Its red brick facade, wooden balconies, and ornate ironwork evoke the charm of a bygone era. But beneath the elegance lies a darker, more mysterious presence. For over a century, guests and staff alike have reported paranormal phenomena, making the Occidental Hotel one of Wyoming's most haunted locations. The hotel's history is steeped in the rugged lifestyle of the frontier. Cowboys rode in after long days on the range, miners sought respite from harsh labor, and saloon-goers came to drown their worries in whiskey. Tragedy was never far away. The Wild West was unforgiving, and many who stayed in Buffalo faced accidents, illnesses, and violence. It is said that some of these restless souls never left the hotel, lingering in the halls and rooms where they spent their final days. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves ghostly cowboys wandering the hallways. Visitors have described shadowy figures dressed in dusty boots, hats pulled low over their eyes, and spurred heels clicking across wooden floors. These apparitions appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly, leaving only the faint scent of leather and tobacco in the air. Some guests have claimed to hear whispers of conversations long past, the echoes of cowboys recounting tales of cattle drives and gunfights, their voices fading into the silence of the night. The saloon, once a lively hub of music and revelry, is another hotspot for supernatural activity. Phantom piano notes and faint strains of a fiddle drift through the bar, even when the instruments are silent. Saloon doors swing open and closed on their own, and chairs sometimes slide across the floor as if unseen patrons are still taking their seats. Bartenders and visitors alike have reported feeling cold drafts and sudden chills, particularly near the original bar counter, which dates back to the hotel's earliest days. Some speculate that the spirits are reliving the rowdy nights of the past, trapped in an eternal loop of music, laughter, and sorrow. Another frequent sighting is that of a woman in a long dress, often spotted near the grand staircase. Her expression is described as sorrowful, her eyes fixed on a distant point beyond the hotel's walls. Guests who have encountered her often feel a heavy sense of sadness, as if the woman carries centuries of grief. Some believe she was a bride who lost her love in a harsh frontier, or a traveler who met a tragic fate while staying at the hotel. Whatever her story, her presence is unmistakably lingering spirit who moves silently, leaving an impression of melancholy in every step. Many guests report more personal encounters, especially in the middle of the night. Some awaken to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their bed, watching them silently before dissipating into the darkness. Others hear footsteps pacing outside their rooms, knocking on doors, or even the sound of someone moving through their belongings. Electronic devices occasionally malfunction, lights flicker without cause, and objects are found out of place, suggesting a playful or restless presence. Those who are sensitive to energy often feel a weight in the air, a pressing sensation that someone or something is observing them, even when the hallways are empty. Room 205 is particularly notorious among guests. Here, numerous sightings of both the sorrowful woman and the wandering cowboys have been reported. Paranormal investigators have captured unusual readings on electromagnetic field detectors, cold spots, and unexplained voices during overnight stays. Guests who stay in this room often describe an eerie mixture of fear and fascination, as if the past has folded over into the present, creating a space where history and the supernatural coexist. The hotel's charm and haunting are intertwined. Its vintage furnishings, creaking floorboards, and antique decor make it feel like a place suspended in time. It is precisely this preservation that may have allowed the spirits to remain, inhabiting the very rooms, hallways, and staircases where they once lived. Visitors often remark on the uncanny feeling that the hotel itself is alive, breathing memories and echoes into every corner. The Occidental Hotel, while a destination for travelers, is also a threshold to the past, a place where the energy of those who walked its halls long ago still lingers, refusing to fade away. Stories from the Occidental Hotel have spread far beyond Buffalo. Ghost hunters, history enthusiasts, and curious travelers flock to the site, hoping to witness the unexplained firsthand. Many report encounters, some subtle and others more dramatic, affirming the hotel's reputation as a haven for spirits. Despite the fear these experiences can evoke, the hotel continues to draw visitors, its charm and mystery undiminished by the passage of time. The Occidental Hotel is more than a historic building. It is a living repository of the town's past. Its halls echo with the lives, laughter, and sorrows of those who once called it home. The ghostly cowboys, the sorrowful woman, the phantom music, and unseen presences serve as reminders that history is never truly gone. The spirits of the Occidental Hotel linger as witnesses to its rich, and sometimes tragic, past, offering visitors a glimpse into a world where the line between the living and the dead is blurred. For anyone stepping through its doors, the Occidental Hotel promises more than a comfortable stay. It offers a journey into the eerie, the unexplained, and the unforgettable. Those who visit may leave with stories of ghostly cowboys, whispers in empty hallways, and shadowy figures at the foot of their beds, a testament to the enduring presence of the past and the restless spirits that refuse to let go. In Buffalo, Wyoming, the Occidental Hotel remains a place where the echoes of history haunt every creaking floorboard and every flickering light, ensuring that the Old West's legacy lives on, both in memory and in spirit. And so our journey through the haunted Rockies comes to a close. From elegant hotels to desolate ghost towns, from shadowed cemeteries to long-abandoned mines, the Rocky Mountains are more than a natural wonder. They are a graveyard of forgotten dreams, tragedies, and restless spirits that linger long after the living have gone. Perhaps the next time you hike a lonely trail or step into an old mountain hotel, you'll feel that sudden chill in the air, that prickling sensation of unseen eyes upon you. Maybe it's just the wind. Or maybe, just maybe, the Rockies are reminding you that their ghosts are always near. Thank you for joining me on this haunting journey. If you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling stories from the darkest corners of the world. Until next time, my friends, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the spirits are never far away.